Hey friends, and welcome back to Energy Express. Today we're going to go down on the farm. Specifically, we're going to head down to Tasty Acres farm. Let's head over and visit our friend Miss Amie and learn all about some spinach.
Hi friends, Miss Amie here with West Virginia University Extension Service Family Nutrition Program. Welcome back to Tasty Acres Farm. Today, in my classroom, we're going to learn all about spinach. Do you know what spinach is? Have you ever eaten spinach before? I have some spinach here for us to look at. See what you think. When you have a lot of pieces of spinach, they call it a bunch of spinach. So where on my plate do you think spinach goes? Would you think the dairy category, fruit, vegetable, grain, or protein? That's right, it goes into the vegetable category, which is green. It's nice that my plate is broken down not only by category type, but that there's colors assigned. So all things from dairy go into the color blue. All things in the grains category go into orange. Anything in the fruit category goes into red. Anything in the protein category goes into purple. And all vegetables go into the green category. It's convenient today, our vegetable is green. So that will help us remember that it goes into the vegetable category. So let's take a look and investigate our spinach. Let's get just one leaf. So here is a single leaf of spinach. What color is the spinach? Green, right. There's two parts that we visually see, right? We see the leaf, which is the top part, and this is called the stem. Can you say the word stem? Great. So, what do you think that the spinach feels like? See if I can get it in close. What do you think it feels like? It's pretty smooth, but where you can see all the little veins actually kind of makes it a little bumpy. What shape would you say a spinach leaf is? Well, if we were just to look at the leaf, we could say it's an oval, right? It's not perfectly circular, it's kind of elongated. So I would say oval. And then the stem part, maybe a rectangle. So do you know where spinach comes from? That's right, spinach is grown on farms. Spinach grows directly out of the ground and we start it from seed. In West Virginia, spinach can be grown throughout the year. It prefers it when it's cooler. So you'll normally find spinach at your farmer's market in May or also in October. Those are the prime times for spinach. Let's take a look at this bunch of spinach again. So when the spinach is growing on the farm, it almost has its roots down here and then it shoots up the leaves and it grows into a cute little plant. There's a lot of different ways that we can eat spinach. You can eat spinach raw, which is in its natural state after you've washed it. You can cook spinach, which a lot of people have tried, and it's kind of a little mushy, right? Or some people actually make smoothies with spinach in them. Spinach is loaded with vitamin B, vitamin C, and iron, which are all things that your body needs to stay healthy. Remember, it's important to eat from all food categories, all colors, and to eat a rainbow within each category. Today's story is The Talking Vegetables. It's retold by Juan Liddy Pay and Margaret H. Lippard. Bam, bam, bam! Who's pounding on my door so early in the morning? Shouted Spider. Your neighbors. It's time to clear the land for our village farm. Go away, said Spider. I'm tired. But we need you, they said. If everyone helps, there will be plenty of vegetables for all of us. Spider yawned. I don't need your vegetables. I have rice. Everyone in the village walked down the road to a clearing in the forest. Everyone except Spider. They worked all day cutting down bushes, tearing out vines, and digging up roots. They raked smooth beds and built a waterway. The next morning, the villagers came again to Spider's door. Bam, bam, bam! Who's there? Spider called. Your neighbors, come help us plant the seeds. I said no, and I mean no, shouted Spider. Now go away. The villagers carried the seeds to the farm and planted them in straight rows. They planted kielbasa, tomato, pumpkin, squash, cabbage, cucumber, pepper, and many different kinds of beans and greens. Another month later, the villagers knocked on Spider's door again. Bam, bam, bam! Spider opened the door and yelled, What do you want now? It's time to weed the farm, they answered. I didn't help before, and I'm not helping now, Spider screamed. He slammed the door and went back to bed. All day, the villagers pulled weeds. Their knees hurt, their backs ached, and their arms were sore. In time, the vegetables began to ripen. The villagers picked what they wanted. One day, Spider said to himself, I'm getting tired of rice, plain rice, day after day. I live here. I'm part of this village too. I'm going to pick myself some vegetables to go with my rice. When Spider got to the farm, he couldn't believe his eyes. Huge cucumbers lay on the ground. Giant pumpkins rested under green leaves. Juicy tomatoes hung from vines. Wow, said Spider. Those tomatoes look delicious. I'll just take one or maybe two. Spider reached out to pick a tomato from the nearest plant. The tomato shook itself and said, What are you doing? Spider said, Whoa, a talking tomato. The tomato said, Why do you think you can pick me when you didn't come to clear the land or plant my seeds or pull the weeds? Get out of here. Spider backed away. He looked around and said, There are so many fat cucumbers on the vine. I'll just take one or maybe two. But as he walked towards the cucumber vine, it started to move away from him. Spider was surprised. He'd never seen a moving vine before. It twisted all over the ground. You can't pick us, said a cucumber. You didn't clear the land. You didn't plant our seeds. You didn't pull the weeds. Spider ran to the other side of the farm. Ahead he saw a perfect pumpkin. Big enough, but not too big. I'll just grab that pumpkin on my way out, he said. But he couldn't lift it. The pumpkin stuck to the ground. He tugged and pulled, but the pumpkin wouldn't move. You can't take me, the pumpkin said. You didn't make the farm. Go away. Spider tried to find his way out of the farm, but the vegetables reached up to grab him. Leaves covered his eyes, stems stretched out to trip him. Finally, Spider got free. He ran all the way back to the village. But when he got home, he was tired and hungry. He put a pot of water over the fire and boiled some rice. That night, he ate rice for dinner. Plain rice. Thanks for staying for story time. In the story, we actually got to hear some of the words that we learned about spinach today. We heard leaves and we heard stems. Do you remember what the leaves did to the spider? They covered his eyes, right. What about the stems? They tried to trip him. Lucky for us, we know leaves and stems go into the vegetable category and are really good for us. Today's recipe is going to be spinach and strawberry salad. Let's go see Molly make it in the kitchen.
Hi, I'm Molly with West Virginia University Extension Service Family Nutrition Program, and today we're going to make a spinach strawberry salad. It's always a good idea before you start cooking to read through the recipe, gather all your ingredients up, wash any fresh fruits and vegetables under running water, wash your hands, and clean your cooking surface. I've just done all that, so I'm ready to get started. Now, our recipe has fresh strawberries in it. I've already started to cut up some, but when you're cutting fresh strawberries, you just want to cut off the green part on the top, make a flat surface, and then go through and slice it into small pieces, and then add that to our bowl. And you need about a cup, as I said, but you can use more or less. I'll do one more. Make your flat surface, and then go through and slice it. Add those to our bowl. Now, I said our salad is a spinach salad, and I've got a time saver for you. This bag of baby spinach is washed and ready to eat. So I'm just going to pop it open. The recipe calls for about 5 ounces of fresh spinach. This bag is 6 ounces. So we're just gonna go ahead and add it all. Baby spinach is just a little more tender than its grown-up counterpart. We are going to add our strawberries. Our recipe also has feta cheese, and this is a 1/4 cup of crumbled feta cheese, and this just adds a nice saltiness to our salad. So we've got the sweet strawberries, the salty feta cheese, and then we've got a 1/4 cup of toasted pecans or walnuts. This, of course, is optional, but it adds a nice, healthy, plant-based protein to your salad. And to toast pecans or walnuts, you just want to either put them on a cookie sheet and put them in the oven until you start to smell them. Keep a very close eye on them because they can burn quickly. I like to do it on a skillet on my stove. Just kind of shake them around on low heat until you start to smell that nuttiness, and then you know you're done. I'm gonna sprinkle those on top, and I'm gonna toss this around a little bit before I add my dressing. And you could use kale instead of spinach if you prefer kale. You could always massage your kale or spinach to kind of soften it up a little bit before you add your fruit and cheese and nuts. Once this is kind of mixed in, I have a strawberry poppy seed dressing that we're going to add. You could also make your own vinaigrette. Very easy with oil, salt, vinegar, lemon juice. You could add a little hot sauce in there, and we're gonna drizzle that on top and continue to toss it around. Once this sits for a little bit, it will start to wilt and become more manageable. But I'm ready to give it a try. I'm gonna add a little bit of spinach in my bowl and definitely make sure I get some of these fresh strawberries, feta cheese, and pecans. And I'm gonna give it a try. Get a piece of everything in my bite. That is really good. This could be a whole meal. You could add a grilled chicken breast to this if you'd like some animal-based protein. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you give our strawberry spinach salad recipe a try, and we'll see you again real soon.
Hi friends, today's activity is going to be making seed tape. We're going to make spinach seed tape together. What you will need is a paper towel or toilet paper. You will need seeds. You'll need a marker, and you will need some Elmer's glue. The first step is to cut your paper towels so that they are skinny sections, unless you're using toilet paper, because that's pretty much a good length or width. Next, you will need to select the seeds you're going to use, and you're going to need to know a little bit about your seeds. So turn your seed packet around, and we're going to read the information on the back about how to plant the seeds. It says it takes 8 to 10 days for the seeds to germinate. That means to start to sprout. The planting depth is 1/2 inch, so that means it will be under the soil 1/2 inch. The days to harvest are 45 days. And you want them 6 inches apart. So now that we know that information, we can actually use our marker to make marks on our paper towel or toilet paper. So we're going to make marks every 6 inches for our seeds. The next thing that you will do at home is you will put a little dab of glue on every spot. Then take a seed and put it in the glue. Let me show you one that I did. This helps us when we go to plant because it makes sure that our plants are evenly spaced. Remember, this is supposed to be planted 1/2 inch below the soil. It's always helpful if you label them. You could write spinach, 8 to 10 days to germinate, 45 days to harvest, and 1/2 inch deep. I hope you enjoyed today's activity. Thanks for being here. Let's go visit Miss Shannon and see what physical activities she has for us today.
Hi everybody, I'm Shannon, and today we're going to be working on high intensity interval training, or HIIT training. What HIIT training is when we move our bodies very vigorously for a few seconds, and then we pause in between for a few seconds to catch our breath. We're going to repeat that process several times until we're finished our workout. The type of HIIT training that we're going to be doing is moving like we're our favorite animals. So each animal that we've picked today is going to have a specific movement. We're going to do that for a few seconds, and then we're going to rest in between, okay? I'm going to show you the movements first, and then we'll go through them together. The first thing that we're going to do are frog jumps. So frog jumps, you can bend down and touch the ground if you want, or you can stand with your knees slightly bent, hands on your hips, and just jump forward and back, forward and back. Great job, friends. The next thing that we're going to do is the gorilla shuffle. So you're going to point your toes outward, squat to the ground, and touch it if you can. And then you're just going to kind of walk around like you're a gorilla. Isn't this fun? Great job. The next thing we're going to do is starfish jumps. Starfish jumps you can do several ways. You can take your arms up and just tap your legs out to the side if you want, or you can do a jumping jack, just like a starfish. Great job. The next thing that we're going to do is a cheetah run. Cheetahs are really, really fast, so we have to do too. So tuck your arms in, bend your knees a little bit, and just run really, really fast in place. Faster. Great job. The next thing that we're going to do are elephant stomps. Elephants have really heavy feet, so we have to pretend like we do too. Hands on your hips, bend your knees a little bit, and just stomp. Don't wake everybody up. Okay, friends, we're going to go through them together now, okay? So remember, we're going to do an animal movement, and then we're going to rest for a few seconds in between so that we can catch our breath. Alrighty, here we go. First things first, frog jumps. Forward and back, forward and back. And you can hop around if you want to too. Good job. Great job, friends. Now let's rest a few seconds. Take a big deep breath and breathe it out. Do that a few more times. Great job. Now we're going to do our gorilla shuffle. Toes pointed out, squat down, touch the ground, walk around. Isn't this silly? Good job, friends. Good job. Stand up. Big deep breath in. Awesome. Next thing's next. Starfish jumps. Remember, you can go out like this or jumping jacks. I'm going to do jumping jacks. Let's go. Good job. Good job, friends. Okay, rest. Take some deep breaths. Now how about that cheetah run? Ready? Let's go. Come on, friends, you can do it. Awesome. Faster, faster. Great job. Take a deep breath in again. Let your heart rate rest a little bit. Let it come down. One more and we've completed our physical activity for today. Are you ready? Let's get into position for those elephant stops. Bend your knees a little bit. Hands on your hips. Pretend those feet are really, really heavy. Stop. See if you can stop quietly too. Stand up. Let's take a big deep breath in. Now I just want you to put your toes together since we're done our animal movements. And we're going to take our arms up and bend down and let your breath out. Breathe in, arms up and down. Breathe out. Great job, friends. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you had a lot of fun in your animal movements. Try some of these at home, okay? Good job.
Hey friends, thank you for joining us on Tasty Acre Farms today. We certainly had a tasty and fun-filled day. We'll see you again next week. Have a great day.
We're in Hernshaw, West Virginia, the mushroom capital of West Virginia, and this is Hernshaw Farms. This is Sam Umstadt, Chief of Production for Hernshaw Farms, and I'm George Patterson. I sort of run the place. This is a mushroom block. So it's essentially a combination of soybean hull and sawdust and some secret ingredients. You know, you got to keep some things secret, and we sterilize it so it goes under this big huge barrel, which actually is just right over there. You know, it creates all this steam, it puffs up, you know, and then after 12 to 16 hours at 200 degrees, you know, you've got these blocks that are completely sterilized, so all the bacteria inside is killed, and it gives room for our mushroom mycelium to grow. So what we do is we break this up, take it and put it in one of these. Take this, essentially, and just put it in this bag. That's a mushroom block. Then it's moved to another room, which is warm like this one, where they sit in kind of like a warm hug for, you know, around a month.
You know, the mushrooms are growing, the mycelium's doing what it's supposed to do. And so we'll wait for these to get, these are close to pinning, and so when it pins, we'll put it into fruiting and open the bag up, so that way it can get some, get oxygen and then get water, and then it'll fruit, and we'll see some mushrooms. And then this is where they fruit, and they go through flushes or different stages. You know, they'll fruit, and we'll get mushrooms, and then we'll harvest, and then, you know, sometime later we can get another flush or another round of mushrooms.
So, you know, it's not just like you pick the carrot once, mushrooms, you pick them two or three or four or five, put on some gloves and you just go in there and just pick them off the block and put them in the crate, and there you go. Then it goes into our fridge. It's really clean, and I actually don't want to step in there because my shoes are dirty. They're on your table or your local restaurant's table really soon. Say they didn't sell at the market this week, or that week, you know what I mean? They go right into the dehydrators. Actually, we sell a lot of our dried mushrooms and we ship them all across the country through Etsy, and I have our own online retail. So that's really a big part of our business. In college, when I was bored, I would try to figure out solutions for things to do on mine land. It wasn't necessarily my love of mushrooms that brought me to mushrooms. There's not many other people doing this sort of thing, so it's absolutely, you know, it's absolutely new territory. You really have a potential to create something that's perfect sort of for our climate and our people, and a good thing overall, you know?
I'm Donnie Tenney with Appalachian Acres. Actually, we have the largest microgreen operation in Tolmansville, West Virginia. And actually, we're the only microgreens grower in Tolmansville. So I started looking and at the YouTubes on microgreens. I don't know how that popped up. How to make $1 million in microgreens. Well, I knew right off that wasn't going to work in West Virginia, but I tried some, and they sold pretty good. This is radish. We have sunflower. This is the #1 microgreen, is sunflower, because it has a sweet, crunchy, a nice taste. Now you can grow them in the greenhouse, and I have before. The reason, you know, in the wintertime I grow in here because I can control the environment better. I've got heat in here, and you got lights. With the sunflower, what we do, we use these thin trays, which use about half as much soil as your conventional tray, and that's really all they need. So then when we plant the sunflower, we go ahead and plant the radish, and then they mature at the same time. And then we stack them, and then we put some weight on top of them. And the reason for doing that is to force the roots down into the ground, into the soil, or the medium. You can see the roots. Then we cover them to make them stretch. You know, in 7, 10, 12 days, you're ready to harvest them. So you can use scissors. The problem with scissors, it kind of bruises the stems because you're, you know, cutting from both sides. But this knife, it's a stainless steel knife, and I keep it real sharp. People mix them in with their salads. I think that's what I encourage. Some of the people at the farmer's market would just buy a bag of them and just start eating them, just munching on them, you know. Or like I say, I like to take, especially the sunflower, if I'm making a sandwich, then instead of putting lettuce on it, I just put a layer of sunflower, and it gives you a nice flavor, sweet flavor with it. I mean, it's rare that something tastes good and it's good for you. You know, that's a real jewel to find. You know, it's kind of neat. You can find anything on YouTube. I don't care what it is. If it's fixing a faucet to overhauling a car engine, you can find it on YouTube.